if the Riders do actually punt, it's a fairly stiff breeze, so one might think
they may
this
give it up.
might be a time to give 2 away and kick it a little deeper, but
not necessarily a bad idea. You're looking at 2 or 3, and that's what they'll do. It's a good decision, and McCallum will take his time to try and take some more seconds off the clock.
So the Riders give up a couple rather than kick into a 22-kilometer breeze. Alouettes have the lead. It's 8-0 on CFL Live. Thomas Haskins has had a great afternoon already, hasn't he? Ready to return another one here. Huge return on the opening kickoff, and then he scored the first touchdown today.
He's nice, provides nice depth for Charlie Taff in this offense. When you think of Thomas Haskins as another weapon, he can be a receiver out of the backfield or can also run the ball successfully. He has a over 5-yard average when he does rush the football.
And under both circumstances, he's not a starter for the Alouettes. Here's Haskins. Good head of steam. He's out across the 30 to the 32. George White made the tackle there after a 25-yard return.
Yeah, and you talk about Thomas Haskins. Winston October is not in the lineup, the great return man for the Montreal Alouettes due to injury. And talking to Charlie Taff about Haskins replacing him on the return game, and he says, yeah, we got a pretty good one to back him up in Thomas Haskins. He can make a couple guys miss in the open field.
Kevin Alexander also returns well. Alouettes with the 8-0 lead, beginning just shy of the 35. Little play action fake. Oh, almost an incredible catch by Jock Climby, who went high, got one hand on it. Couldn't quite bring it down.
Arkel Truluck really made the play because he forced a quick throw from Anthony Calvillo. He's number 43, hitting Calvillo as he delivered that football, and that's why it's a little bit high and outside. If Arkel Truluck doesn't get this pressure and make Calvillo kind of turn away as he's throwing it, he probably completes that pass. Truluck was working one-on-one on Bruno Heppel and beat him. 2nd and 10.
Alouettes have Cahoon to the near side. He's their leading receiver, Ben Cahoon. Under the cover again, and Climby had that one fired behind him. Jackie Mitchell was covering, and Cavillo just miscalculated.
It's an offense that ranks number 1 in the league rushing the football at close to 150 yards per game, and when you have Mike Pringle, it's not surprising. They rank 6th throwing the ball. They don't throw it quite as much as most teams, but I think when you ask Charlie Tapp, the one stat that he likes to lead in, and that's points, and it's a team that scores more points than any other in Canadian football offensively.
Baker's kick, bouncing near the 40. Eric Gulliford lets it roll out of touch. So Saskatchewan down by 8. 1st and 10 on CFL Live when we come back to Taylor Field.
And fiberglass.
On 1st down, Saskatchewan, there's very little running room inside for Darren Davis, number 8. Maybe a couple.
Well, you heard Ray Morrison on the sideline talk about the incident between Curtis Marsh and his teammates a couple of weeks ago, and you have to really give full credit to head coach Danny Barrett, the way he handled that situation. He had his star receiver, the leading receiver in the league, walk out on practice. He talked to him. Curtis Marsh was ready to leave the team at that time. Talked to him again when he cooled down, decided to suspend him and set the precedent for the rest of the team and the rest of his coaching reign here in Saskatchewan.
Here's Burris. That's Marsh. Good catch by Marsh. Nice run after making it. And that's the biggest play of the afternoon for the Roughriders. Curtis Marsh is back.
Well, and it's something, John, that if you think of the way Barrett took care of this situation, he suspended him to say, look, it doesn't matter if you're the star or you're 39th man covering kicks. You will be dealt with the same way. And he suspended him for the game. Marsh apologized to his teammates, like Ray mentioned, which isn't very easy to do. And he stood in the room, said that he was sorry that his personal life away from the game affected their team. And that can be something that pulls his team together.
33 yards in the previous play, and Burris fired one into the turf, looking for Marsh on the far side again.
And there's no question that he was struggling. And you look at his first 10 games in the lineup, he was averaging 105 receiving yards per game in those first 10. In his last 4 that he played, and obviously he didn't play last week, but in the last 4 that he did play, that dropped to 40 yards per game. So his production had dropped off because of personal problems.
Yeah, and there was frustration there. So
no question.
You can't excuse it, but you like the way the Riders handled it.
Absolutely.
And it's nice to see Marsh back in the lineup. 2nd and 10. Burris thought there was an opening. There wasn't. So the Riders look at 3rd down. And a tough kick into the wind from where they are.
Well, it was a successful drive for Saskatchewan. I'll tell you why. With that Curtis Marsh play, where he picked up big yardage, he really killed the rest of this first quarter. There's only 16 seconds left. So now Saskatchewan will punt this football, turn around basically in 1 down, and get the wind at their back for the second quarter. That's what they wanted to do, because they've only given up 8 points with the wind in their face. So a good drive kills the rest of the first quarter, and that's a success for that offense.
And considering the start the Alouettes got with a huge punt return right out to midfield to get things going, the Riders are hanging in here, only down by 8. With the wind coming up shortly, and Saskatchewan's back.
We got to be on this side.
Zeros are on the score clock here, so this will be the last play of the opening quarter, barring a penalty. Saskatchewan has a chance, and I think the Riders have recovered. Aaron Collins comes up with a football, and a huge play on special teams for Saskatchewan. Second quarter straight ahead, live from Taylor Field. There's the miscue, and there's the Rider recovery.
The CFL live on TSN at the quarter.
James Duffy back with you, and considering that they were in their own end of the field most of the first quarter, considering they were against the wind, considering the opportunities Montreal had, well, that wasn't all that bad for Saskatchewan. You get a feeling that 3rd down gamble may have really turned things around.
Well, I think so. I mean, we have a competitive game, and I have to compliment Saskatchewan understanding the value of down and distance and tendency, because nobody with the Montreal Alouettes, they constantly run this play, this little option play right on the 5-yard line, and it seemed like right now Saskatchewan is the only team that I've seen to be able to take that away. That was a great opportunity for the Alouettes. They didn't convert, and it may be the key to the football game, Matty.
Well, Chris, I thought it was a terrible decision. I don't like the second guess, but hey, Montreal, they're running Pringle successfully in the interior of the line of scrimmage. They get in down there 3rd and 2, and they put it in AC's hands. Continue to pound the football up the middle. And then if you are going to run the option, give it up to Pringle, because you got Heppel out in front and you got a walk-in touchdown. But just a crazy call down there. I think you got to give it to the dance with the one that brought you.
I agree with you, Matt, and I think this drive is really, really important for Saskatchewan. Now that they've got a turnover, they need to stop the bleeding, give their defense a rest, and get back into the game. When you're playing at Taylor Field, the wind is a huge, huge factor. You have to score the 2 quarters you have it. Saskatchewan has the wind at their back. They've got positive field position. They have to capitalize on it now.
Saskatchewan's #1 concern, of course, is the Montreal Alouettes, but they'll also be keeping a little peek on the scoreboard, because the BC Lions, the team they're chasing, playing against Calgary. Kelvin Anderson, as you see, with a 9-yard touchdown run. The Stamps on top, less than 5 minutes left in the first quarter, 7-0.
So we'll watch that game with interest, but right now there's a little more interest in this one at Taylor Field. Danny Barrett's Roughriders. Huge turnover will begin inside the 20-yard line with a first down here.
Yeah, and you heard the guys talk about the wind being a factor. Montreal won the toss, deferred to the second half. Saskatchewan took the win in the second quarter. That's why they have it now.
Riders really need to come up with something productive here, and it doesn't work out that way at all. Darren Davis lost yardage there. The play looked to be a little slow developing.
Yeah, it was. And Swift Birch got in there and really turned it away. And when you take a look at what's happened in the first quarter, pretty even in the passing game, 55 yards for both teams. Not a surprise, really, that Montreal has the edge rushing the football, but you know, the Riders did a nice job of only giving up 8 points in a quarter that they didn't have the wind at their back. Could have been worse.
2nd and 12. Burris, the pump fake, looks to the end zone. Marsh wide open.
dropped it. He had it. He had it. It was a double move by Curtis Marsh. He's working on Davis Sanchez. Another guy who's having a tremendous year in the secondary for the Montreal Alouettes. Here's the first move. Pump fake by Burris right there. Sanchez tries to jam him, but misses the jam. The ball's kind of thrown low and away, but that's a ball that Curtis Marsh has caught all season long. And this is a matchup that we will watch all game long. Davis Sanchez, maybe the all-Canadian at corner in the CFL.
That's a heck of a story, isn't it? This guy is playing superbly. Second in interceptions. McCallum puts it up, and he puts it through, so the Roughriders are on the board. 7 would have been nicer, but 3. At least it's a start for the Riders on home turf today.
He's been the favorite receiver for this quarterback this afternoon. There's the snap. Little swim move by Abe. Lincoln down the right side with the happy feet. Gives his man a little stutter step. Now he hooks and jukes. Pulls a button hook. Lincoln fiddling and faddling, dibbling and dabbling. Finding himself wide open. There's the throw. Oh, Abe.
Around you.
We'll be at Skydome on Friday night. Why don't you drop by and say hi? Bombers Argos battle for a playoff spot.
How important is that game for the Toronto Argonauts? 3 points behind Winnipeg in the standings in the East for the final playoff spot. That will be one that they will be ready to play. You might want to check it out.
Green and white faces all over this place. Most football afternoons. First down Montreal, and Pringle has been limited to long yardage today. His first carry went for 10, and Chance McCarty had him wrapped up there. Since then, the Riders have handled the run and Mike Pringle decently well.
Well, they really have, and you got to give full credit to Aaron Collins and George White in the linebacking core. They're really holding their own right now. Can they do it for the full 60 minutes is always the question.
And
with
not
Mike
many
Pringle.
teams can.
Look at, they're all up in the line of scrimmage again, trying to stop it. See that line of Riders? Now just one of them drops out of there.
2nd and 7. Cavill will put it up near side. No catch. Davis says he had it, but his pleas to the officials down there fall on deaf ears.
Well, they were right in line to make the call. He's still arguing a little bit. Take a look. You only need 1 foot in bounds. He's got the out pattern. McCallum's beat. He doesn't have control just yet. I think he didn't have control, and that's why they ruled him out of bounds. He didn't have complete control of the football. He's kind of juggling it there, and then he touches that white line. So they were right on the spot to make the call.
So the Rough Rider defense holds again, and Terry Baker is in, kicking into the breeze for the first time. Eric Gulliford deep for Saskatchewan near his 30. Knuckler, not deep. Gulliford misjudged it momentarily, but he's on his way now. Turns the corner and has a decent return for field position anyway. 45 on the punt, 14 on the return. 1st and 10 for the Riders when we return. This is a matchup we'll watch today. Curtis Marsh had a chance for a touchdown in the end zone.
Well, I mentioned Davis Sanchez on the corner, and you know, Curtis Marsh has made 1 play. This is the last series. Davis Sanchez on that double pump move. Curtis Marsh got in behind and didn't catch the ball. That goes as a long incompletion under Davis Sanchez's category in his stats book. What a season he has had. 7 interceptions. And I think when you look at all Canadians at the corner position, he's got to be considered.
On 1st down, Saskatchewan, far side. The Riders turn this into a big play. Bendros made the catch.
That's one thing that Henry Burris has that right at his fingertips is good balanced speed on the outside for him. We talked about Curtis Marsh, and then you look on the other side with Demetrius Bendros. Now you got very good speed that can stretch a defense, and when I say stretch, they get downfield, and that's why things open up more for Eric Gulliford underneath and Dan Farthing. If you have speed on the outsides, the inside receivers have more room to maneuver.
Dangerous receivers. 9 yards gain. This is 2nd and 1, and that's plenty for a 1st down. Darren Davis.
Then you throw in a couple of running plays. You got speed on the outside, and you got the potential for a pretty potent offense.
Now after the play, there's a flag down far side.
But potential won't get you much when it comes to wins and losses. You got to execute when the game's on the line, and that's been a little bit of a problem for Saskatchewan. When they get down in what Danny Barrett likes to call the green zone, because green means go on in.
Yeah, you see, Danny Barrett is absolutely right. It is the green zone, not the red zone.
That's
red
right.
Red means stop, green means go.
Well, he said it's the red zone for defenses, it's the green zone for offenses, but that's where they've struggled. And Henry Burris has moved the ball. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards, but he gets down there and makes mistakes.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan 54, dead ball foul, first down, 1st and 10.
So the first down will count. They'll get yardage for the first down and get a new set, but they're moving back 15 yards.
Look up here, Stephon Reed, the linebacker, and I believe there's the late hit right there. Jeremy O'Day, the center, is doing what offensive linemen like to call cruising. They look for little DBs and linebackers down the field, and they cruise. And if they find one, they want to hit them because they don't run very far. If they run 10 yards, they want to hit somebody.
He hammered him. First down, Saskatchewan. Burris has time. And he has a reception out at the 50. Curtis Marsh has a first down.
Well, again, there it is. Curtis Marsh, Davis Sanchez. Looking at probably the All-Canadian that's actually playing a little zone defense, so Sanchez drops him inside to Baron Miles, but pretty good catch. Had to come back to that football.
A little premature in that first down calculation there. We're about a half a yard shy.
Okay, well, that's all right. I'll forgive you this time.
Go.
Second down, actually a little less than a yard to go. And Burris has it this time.
Well, starting to move the ball a little bit for Henry Burris and the Saskatchewan offense, but they really want to do as much as they can with the win. It's also the long quarter. In the second quarter and the fourth, you have the long quarter, so you have a little more time when you get down into that last 3 minutes, but they need to put some points on the board while they have it. Montreal now has the choice in the second half. They'll likely take the fourth quarter with the wind at their back.
Out at the 52, first down, Saskatchewan. Shotgun for Burris. Here's the heat. Burris stands in and fires this one deep. He missed Pendros by about 10 yards, but to just see how far he threw the football with the heat coming.
Yeah, with the flick of the wrist, he throws it about 80. Coming off the corner was Mark Washington. We've seen Baron Miles early in this game, and this time it was Mark Washington. This is something that this Montreal defense has not done a lot of this season, and that's come with pressure from the secondary. The defensive backs coming on a little bit of a blitz. Mark Washington is completely free, but with a flick of the wrist, Henry Burris throws it out of trouble 80 yards down the field.
Yeah, 5 of 11 for 73.
Well, he threw it 73 yards on that one play. It wasn't caught, but
yeah, that one doesn't count. Some early movement. Looked like Swift Birch was a little too swift. Yeah, I just keep setting you up, don't I?
Yeah, you know, you tee it up, and I'll just try and drive it. And hope I don't shank it left.
Montreal 90, second down repeated.
Is that why they called you Pup when you played for the Saskatchewan Roughriders?
That's a long story I'd rather not get into. Swift Birch, on the other hand, jumps offside, and that's Henry Burris using cadence and using his voice to change things up on that Montreal defensive line.
You're right, Pup.
Actually, it doesn't sound bad when you're my age.
2nd and 5. Gulliford was the target, and there was an opportunity there for Baron Miles to take it a long way, but he couldn't grab on.
Well, you know, when you look at Henry Burris, he's getting time to throw the football. Just watch how they pick up the pressure up front. I mean, look at this. Pretty good blocks. Look at this. Nothing getting in here, nothing doing up there. That's a pretty good pocket right there for Henry Burris to throw the football. Darren Davis doing a nice job at the top of your screen on Sylvester Miller. That should be a mismatch, really, for Montreal. He's getting the protection. He's just not getting the completions.
Paul McCallum standing near his 40-yard line. With the win this time. Davis is surrounded, finds a little bit of room out there. Now he's circled back, and he's got room to the far side. McCallum goes over to help run a little interference, and McCallum got over to make the tackle. A long run for 20 yards, 1st and 10, Alouettes, when we return to tail. Mike Pringle, the best running back we've seen in Canadian football in a long time. And even looking back longer, likely the best running back of all time in this league.
Well, yeah, and then some of the fans right here in Taylor Field will put George Reed beside him.
Oh, and absolutely,
And
Reed had the overall 13-year career and more yards than Pringle, but Pringle in 9 years is closing in quickly.
He's very close, and then there's 100-yard rushing games, and look how close he is to George Reed there.
And on pace for a CFL record here, likely this afternoon, one would have to think.
Well,
he's got a pretty good chance of getting into the end zone one more time to break the record of 18 rushing touchdowns.
Well, he'll do it this year, no question about it. But you know what's interesting? He had 4 touchdowns against Saskatchewan in their game early in the season, but he only had 71 yards. It was his second lowest yardage production in any game this year. So Saskatchewan has done a nice job. They just couldn't keep him out of the end zone the last time. 4 touchdowns for Pringle, and like you mentioned, just 1 to break the rushing record in a single season.
6 times over 15 yards for Mike Pringle. He has had an outstanding run and is a huge reason that the Montreal Alouettes are first in the CFL East. There's an injured Roughrider down near the 10-yard line.
Bamadele Ali is being attended to, and they're bringing the cart out there to get him off the field.
Injury timeout at Taylor Field. We'll be right back.
Shop at Safeway. Swipe your Safeway Club card and receive a bonus entry when you purchase Heinz Pasta and Beans, Green Giant Frozen Vegetables. Swipe and you could win $1 million or the Philips Cool Skin Shaver, Dirt Devils Vision Canister Vacuum,